All right, guys, welcome to the Reseller Island podcast. My name is J Ride Flips, and you guys all know my co host, Sunny Las Vegas. Welcome, you fellow islanders, to the Reseller Island. Here in this podcast, Sunny and I, we would like to be your guys' coworkers. We want to be
Join
able
us.
to share experiences with you guys and just kind of make an overall community for us because we know that reselling can typically be a little lonely. We all know the phrase eBay Island. So we've created this podcast to try to help each other out and be more of a community. We have it broken down into three major segments. The first segment, we go over a topic that can help us all in the reselling world. The second segment, Sunny and I talk about our sourcing and our sales that we had during the week. And then the third segment, just kind of hang out. We talk just personal lives. We talk about sports, cooking, hikes, and anything that really comes to mind. So today on the Reseller Island, we wanted to talk about creating connections that can help us in our reselling game, whether that's coming into new inventory and sourcing, or whether that's someone that can just help us kind of get through reselling, or whether it's someone we can kind of bounce ideas off of. So, Sunny, what are some tips and tricks on helping establish connections in the reselling world?
I started with one. I can't remember who, but I went on Craigslist. Long story short, and it ended up creating a post saying I'm a reseller and I'm looking for items to purchase at really low prices to make a little bit of profit or a lot of profit, depending on what people have. And it started off really good. The first two people were great, and I've kept communications with them, but they no longer have things. They got rid of stuff. But there has been some where it's like, okay, there's good and then there's bad, to where people come and they're just throwing these wild prices, or can you meet me here? And they fall back on time and they're changing dates, and it ends up being a waste of time. And that's one thing where you really want to focus on what's working.
Yeah, I think making and establishing connections is what can really take you from a novice reseller to a full-on business owner, or what can make a decent reseller a really, really good reseller. The main reason why you would establish connections in reselling is for sourcing, is for getting
Yeah.
inventory consistently at a price that you can make a profit on. There's a ton of different ways to make relationships and establish partnerships, I guess we'll call them. There's a ton of different tips and tricks to do that. One of the best ways, and I actually just established another connection this weekend when I was in Las Vegas. I was at the flea market. I was going to talk about this a little later too, but I was actually able to source 50 DS and Game Boy Advanced games for under for under $1 each. And then I was also able to get some other miscellaneous electronics from him. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's like my worst performing J-Ride Picks video.
A lot of people weren't too happy with some of the games that you showed, but with
Yeah.
content, you don't always show everything because sometimes you turn off the camera and
Uh-huh.
a vendor or somebody might say, "Hey, here's some more stuff," and you're like, "Oh," and you think you're recording because you're excited. You're
Yep.
really going off of like emotions when you're sourcing for stuff.
Yeah, but
But I
yeah,
thought it
as
was a
I
good
was
video.
talking to that guy, I was able to get a ton of games, and then I was able to get a few electronics as well. And I actually made a connection with him because so it was at Las Vegas, but he's actually from Utah, where I'm from, which was
Mm,
awesome. I'm in southern Utah, so I was still like 4 hours away from him. He's in the Salt Lake area, but I'm actually going to be moving to that area sometime in the next year or so.
uh-huh.
And so I was actually able to get his number and make a connection with him. And now, instead of him bringing as many video games, he's still going to bring the controllers and consoles because those go really fast and for good money for him. But all of the smaller video games and stuff, he's not even going to bring to flea markets anymore. He's just going to contact me, send me pictures, and say, "Hey, do you want this?" He also gets a ton of remote controls and cameras and stuff because he does storage units, and he just puts them all in a bin for me. And now he'll just text me every time he has 100 or so, or 500 or so, and then I can just say, "Hey, $100, $1,000, $5,000, whatever it is." And it's because I made that connection of just talking with him, understanding, shooting the breeze or whatever they call it. And then I was able to get his contact number. And now I have that relationship established. And then if I can just keep communicating with him, keep giving him good deals, I'm going to keep overpaying him in his eyes a few times so I can really, really establish that relationship. And then when I move up north, I'm just going to have probably a supply every single month of hundreds of video games. So
Overpaying means you still know that you're going to make profits. You're not cutting yourself short. You just
yeah,
know
for sure.
what it's
One
worth.
of the
And
what people do wrong when it comes to establishing relationships. So I made a video about this a while ago. At yard sales, you're just trying to get things for as cheap as possible.
Right.
Most people that do yard sales are just doing it one time. But when it comes to flea market vendors, you don't want to haggle as much because you have an opportunity to create a relationship with someone. And if you haggle too much, then they're just never gonna, they'll make the deal with you that time, but they're not gonna make a bulk deal with you or anything like that because you just try to get the prices for too low. But if you pay their asking price the first time, the second time, the third time, then they're actually gonna come to you with their good stuff. And then once you already have that relationship established, now you can be like, okay, sweet man, I really do want this, but this is just a bit out of my reach. Like maybe instead of 700, maybe we can do 400, and you can start negotiating from there. But get everything for as cheap as possible, and they break the relationship right from the beginning.
You reminded me of when I go to casino, a totally different thing, but almost the same concept. I like to drink every now and then, like Heineken's or something. So I'll end up tipping $2, and usually the waitress person will be like, "Oh, thank you," And at first I thought it was sarcasm, but it's not because usually people don't tip or just tip $1. So $1, they'll come back around like in 2 or 3 minutes. Hey, you need another one, and tip $2. And as long as my winnings are good, I'm gonna keep paying $2. But if it starts to slow down, then I end up paying maybe $1. Like, oh, I don't have any more dollars. But it was almost the same thing. When things are good, you want to pay. Like when you have good service at a restaurant, you tip because you're served and treated well. And when it's not good, you want to leave them a warty tip, which usually aren't good.
Yep. And then on the reverse side of things, if you're a seller or a dealer and you give really good deals, then those buyers are going to come back to you. An early experience I had in my business career, I knocked doors to sell pest control. I talk about this all the time. But one of my first like major deals. So basically you go into a neighborhood and you knock on doors and you say, hey, we're in the neighborhood. We're getting all of your neighbors done for super cheap for some ants and spiders. If we can include you guys, we're just getting everyone done on a group rate. People are like, oh yeah, sweet. What's the rate? I was talking with this guy and I had no idea what he did as a background, but I'm just talking with him. We're setting up a deal. And then I'm like, yeah, sweet. So it's going to be $149 every 3 months. And we just drop by. It's just $150. And then if you see anything in between, we come out for free. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, so let's get this set up for tomorrow. Does like 8 in the morning work, or are you more of like an afternoon guy? And then he's like, I don't know. I'm just not sure if I want to get it done right now. I'm like, okay, yeah, no worries. Tell you what, if you just keep it between you and I, like I can actually knock off a few dollars. We'll just get you done for 129 as long as you keep that between you and I. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do tomorrow at 8. And he's like, man, I like your style, man. That was really good. I'm a real estate guy. I have 57 properties here in Columbus. Let's just sign up for all 57. Let's like just if you can give me the same deal across all 57, then I want to get this done, and I want to do it with a guy like you that earned my business. So let's do it. And so it's like, sweet man. Like if I would have he would have signed up for 149. Like I guarantee it. But because I was able to like negotiate with him, make a deal with him, kind of get him on my side, that he gave me like I don't know. I probably made like instead of making $280 off of him in that one transaction, I probably made like $7,000 or $8,000 on him just
For
right
the
there on
long
that
run.
doorstep.
Yeah. That residual, that
Yep.
consistent money coming in rather than that one time. Yeah, everybody wants a deal. Even vendors want a deal, but with vendors and yard sales, garage sales, all those different things we most likely source from, everybody's still trying to get a deal, even if they have a set price. You're still going to ask, and it's one thing I learned from the flea market that they expect you to haggle with them, and it's almost like a game. At first, I took it personal to where I didn't have money all the time, and I felt poor. And when I started gaining money, especially from reselling and seeing it reinvest and turn around, um, a vendor straight up told me, why are you a yes or no? They'll give me a price of like say $20, and I'm like, it's okay, and I put it down, walk away, and they're like, that's it,
bro. Say
so
10. Let's try to meet at 15.
Yeah, so I would walk. And then I learned as I walked away with some of them, the little walkway, like I'm interested, but not. They know you are, but maybe nobody has even gave it any attention. So as you're walking away, they'll give you a good deal. So all these little antics works, and I think one of the biggest ones that I've had a kick out of was Dave, ADH Dave, when him and Carrie came down 2 years ago, and I got to go thrift with them at the Broad Acres flea market. Yeah. And this fricker, man, freaking Dave goes to somebody and he's like, "How much you want for this? $2?" The guy's like, "No, 999. I want $9." He's like, $2, and he's there at it. $2. And then
Uh-huh.
finally, the guy's like, "All right, $2." And Dave, I'm pretty sure he said, well, you take 50 cents, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, you just got your price." But to him, it's a game. But
Uh-huh.
I thought it was very cool that as long as you keep trying, you might get a better deal. He was cutthroat.
Yeah, no, same thing with Art of Resell. I know you guys know each other too. He's always at the Broad Acres. I just met him for the first time on Saturday. And dude,
Yeah, it was
I
another nugget.
overheard someone's like, "Give me $20 for that." He's like, "No, five, dude. Come on, dude, give me, just like straight down to." And then
Yeah,
I saw he was actually like trying to. One of his friends had a booth, and as people were walking by looking at some shoes, Art was like selling them for him. He's like, "Come on, I see you looking at them. Come on, $40.
yeah,
Come on in."
yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's fun.
Yeah, it's really cool with Art. To jump into him for a second, shout out to Art of Resale. I see him pick up stuff from the flea market and sell stuff minutes later with
Yeah.
people that they know what he likes and he knows what they like, and he'll say, "Hey, this is what I got." And it's not so much pushing to sell; it's more of like they might be interested, and based off of that, they usually ask him straightforward how much
Mhm.
you want for it, and he'll give a price. He'll think about it, and even if he makes a little profit off of his price, he'll do it if he's comfortable with it. So there's a comfort level to a lot of things, but it's magical. I love seeing people in their field of doing things like that, especially like thrift videos, people finding things and they just know just by the touch, or they grab something
Mhm.
just a corner. And you're like, how do you see all this information? It's expertise and just being knowledgeable and learning through the magic of thrifting.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Another really good way to establish connections is through, I think Facebook is a very underutilized platform in our profession of reselling. I always recommend people, so everyone knows about Facebook Marketplace, and that can be good. I get deals off of Facebook Marketplace all the time. But what I get more deals off of is local community yard sale pages. So, like, let's say that you live in, like, so there's Columbus, Ohio, and then within all of Columbus, Ohio, there's all the suburbs. And like, let's say that you live in Reynoldsburg, for example. You want to save on your Facebook groups Columbus online yard sale group and also Reynoldsburg online yard sale group. And then you can go in within those groups and you can type in whatever it is that you're looking for, cameras, baseball bats, glass, whatever it is that you're sourcing. And that's where you can get really good deals. And in those deals, I always find storage unit guys. Every single time that I hop into there and I dive deep into what I'm looking for, I always find people just selling one, what we'll say cameras, for example. I'll see a person selling one Sony Alpha 7II for $800. I'll see one person selling like a Canon Mark I for like $1,800. But I'll keep scrolling and then I'll see one person that has like 200 digital cameras untested, $400. I'm like, this is all right. This is what I'm talking about. So then I'll message them and I'll be like, hey, can I stop by? What's your address? And then when you get there, I don't negotiate. I'm just like, yeah, sweet, let's do 400. And then what do you, how did you come across these? Like, did you just go buy out a business that went out of business, or do you do storage units? Oh yeah, yeah, I do storage units. I travel to Las Vegas and I just buy a ton of storage units. And, okay, sweet. Yeah, man. It looks like you don't really sell these individually and you don't really have like a plan for them. I would love if every single storage unit you go to just put a bin of all of your cameras and iPods and remote controls and all that stuff into a bin, and I'll buy all of them from you every time. I'm like, okay, yeah, sweet, sweet. Uh-huh. And so I'm able to establish those connections through Facebook. I've established three of those connections just from Facebook groups. And then also, while we're on the Facebook group thing, there's always like a local business page as well. In St. George, ours is called St. George Word of Mouth. And so I go onto that page all the time. I'm just like, hey guys, I am looking to establish connections with wholesalers or pallet purchasers or storage unit guys. If you guys have anything that you don't particularly like to deal in, whether it's electronics, no one wants to deal in electronics, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
Or clothes or anything like that, just hit me up. I'm a buyer, and then I take a picture of the 300 cameras that I already have, so that way they know I'm serious.
Yeah, those even I went to a rummage sale a week or so ago, and before I went, Jake was even asking me. He was like, "I know you don't really sell remotes or cameras. So if you see them do it, and as I was editing the video, I was holding the camera, but my focus was on this Pyrex glass beaker with this little stand, which is to me nerdy talk of glass. But
Yeah,
I was distracted. But when I was editing the video, I was like, oh, I could have got that for Jake. It was a little camera with the bag. I'm pretty sure it worked. But I do have some cameras with you, and this is a good thing too. As we're both talking about this, it reminds me that I have cameras and electronics that I have not touched,
mm-hmm.
and I think in about 2 or 3 weeks I'm gonna be selling at the Broad Acres myself, so
Yeah,
I could either hold on to this for Jake if he comes down, or the first one comes and give me a better deal. But if Jake makes it, then it's like okay, I got to let go of it and give him even a sweeter deal just to get it off my hands and give me some of
exactly.
my space back where it's been just sitting in the corner in my storage unit.
Yep. Yeah, and same thing with selling on eBay and selling on whatnot and stuff. Like if you come across a certain item and you get it a lot, and someone offers you like a lowish ball offer, sometimes it's good to just counter back, with what you think is reasonable, and then say, hey, if you're interested in these products, I have more in my shop. So Page One Foot Flipper does this all the time. Someone will buy a CD from him, and then he'll message him and say, hey, if you buy 2 or 3 or 4 more CDs, I'll just combine the order, and it'll still just be the original shipping quote. And then people will go back in and they'll buy his CDs, and then they'll come back later when they're looking for a CD and be like, oh, that account on eBay gave me a good deal. I'll search into that and see if I can find more CDs. And that's a really good way to create repeat customers and things like that too. And a
Yeah,
lot of people
communication.
really like get obsessed with like the algorithm or whatever, but it's really just like serving customers and like that. It's you're able to establish those connections on eBay too.
Yeah, good, clean customer service, and at the same time you're selling your items as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But there's a ton of different connections that can be made. Also, same thing like at the thrift store. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but I've established these relationships with my straight up competitors, and a lot of them, especially like the ladies that are interested, like in what you said, the Pyrex and the glass and the lamps. They'll be like, "Oh, hey Jake, I grabbed this remote for you," and they'll just give it to me. I'm like, "Oh, sweet, that's what I'm talking about."
But one of my biggest ones too is that I got offered so much stuff that I couldn't say no,
hmm
but I could have said I can't take all of it because it's too much. And I ended up I'm still kicking myself in the butt from it, that it was just so much items that it took over my garage to where I had to get a storage unit. And then now that's $170 now out of my pocket because those prices go up. So I say this for all of you folks. Sometimes you could say yes, but say I could only afford so much because of the space that I have. And
hmm
maybe come back later if it moves well, or hand it off to other people and see if they're interested.
You said that was 170 for your storage unit.
Now it is. It was 135 when it started it 7 months ago.
How big is that?
I think 10 by 10.
10 by 10. Yeah, I have a 10 by I think a 10 by 12, and it's not even for reselling. It's for all my wife's freaking decorations.
That's where I need to put my wife's stuff at and my mother-in-law's.
Yeah, but yeah, no, ours is
Different
I
topic.
think it's 160 for a 10 by 12. Let us know in the comments below how much are storage units in your area, 10 by 10, 10 by 12 ish.
Yeah. How
Because I
much are
know
you
like
paying?
I'll hear like some people say like, oh yeah, I only pay like $60 for mine, and then
Yeah.
some people are like, oh, here in Los Angeles I pay $490, and it's not
Los
even climate
Angeles.
control. I'm like, holy cow, that's wild.
Yeah. Climate control.
Yeah, and dude, climate control here for a 10 by 12 would probably be like 340 for a 10 by 10. So I'm just imagining in Los Angeles or the Bay Area or something like that. Yeah, it might be like $1,000 a month or something. Holy cow. I don't know. Let us know. Let us know. But yeah,
Please.
honestly, if you want to take your eBay business to the next level, there's like this business quote where it's like it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think again, it's like what you know and who you know. It's important to be able to do things on your own, and then adding the connections is what can really level up your business. And I guess what we're trying to say is the only way to do that is to open your mouth. Another really good thing to do is to just let people know what you do. I have relatives contact me all the time and be like, hey, instead of taking this to the DI, do you want to come take a look at it before I load it on my truck and take it? I'm able to get a few things from there as well. But just letting people know what you do, talking to people at flea markets and at thrift stores, and hopping on Facebook and trying to get deals like that too is always just a good thing to really level up the business. Sourcing and some sales this week. How'd it go?
No sourcing, which is pretty amazing in a week and a day. But I am going to go Saturday. This Saturday, I'm going to be going meeting up with the viewer, customer supporter on YouTube and whatnot. I'm going to meet up with myself, Mikey Bags of Money, and Carrie the Desert Mermaid, really good friends of mine who were just in my recent video. And I love when people reach out and say, "Hey, let's link up." And when I can, I do. But I believe we're going to Goodwill. It's going to be more like towards downtown. Um, I know I'm going to be looking for glass. I like small items, small little glass paperweights, little grandma type of stuff. Like I love it. It's a
Yeah.
lot different than how it was when I started with apparel, which I still love, but I have so much of it that I'm really tired of looking at it. So I need to really jump on whatnot to get that out of my face.
So they just made a new Goodwill in Las Vegas that you've been to. Would you say it's worse, the same, or better than others in your area?
It's the same.
Yeah. How
It's
many
it's
how many
the
times have you been?
I've been there to the new one. That one's on Blue Diamond off of what is that? Near Jones, I think.
Hmm.
Um, that's their enterprise area. I went around 4 times. I've already found some things that I like. Like I said, glass. One was like a little Fenton cat. It glows in the dark with the UV light. That should sell for around 40 plus. Um, I went before the recent time I went, and I felt like the prices were just too high for a lot of things that they have, and some are overpriced. But I do see a difference on a lot of things that they are very affordable. So it's all random when it comes down
Yeah.
to it of what you're looking for. The prices, who knows how they do it? I've already taken 2 tours with Goodwill here, and speaking of that, I've also spoke to some of their executives, and they have actual tours for like their actual business facilities with what they do with people and how they help them. So I want to reach out to other resellers and people who are interested in wanting to learn more about what they do. So that'll be up soon. I definitely need that contact, uh, fresh talks often, see what they're doing and see how I could be a part of something with Goodwill and resellers to maybe do something like an activity day or something.
Making connections to further your business. Wow.
Well, everybody's business. We are a reflection of everybody in a community, whether we like people or not. What we do in our lives is a reflection of who we are and people in it, whether they like us or not.
Yeah, well, for me, the sourcing this week has actually been really good. Like I said, I went down to the Las Vegas Broad Acres flea market. I got a ton of video games. I was also able to get a few Sonos speakers this week. I was able to get yeah, just a ton of different cameras and things like that. I've been selling a ton of cassettes lately. So I got like, and I know I harp on cassettes all the time because most cassettes do not sell whatsoever. But when you're looking for the wrap and you're looking for metal, they sell really well. If I just hop into my sales right here, and I'm selling a ton of them on Mercari too. I think I've sold like 4 cassettes this week on Mercari, and then I've sold like 4 or 5 on eBay as well. But they're all like Slayer, Metallica. This one I've never heard of called Static X sold for $20. I just sold an Ozzy Osbourne one. That one was only $5 plus shipping, but I'm still got it for like probably 2 or 3 cents.
Mhm. Where'd you
After
get it
like
at the bins?
I actually I don't do this a lot, but I actually bought a storage unit. I got a 10 by
Oh,
10 for $35, and it had just a whole fridge of CDs and cassettes and stuff. And I was able to get probably like, I don't know, probably like 50 eBayable media.
eBayable.
eBayable.
Hashtag
And then
eBayable in the comments.
yeah, and then I sold like 15 or so of them on Didbit on one of their raid trains. And then I've also been able to sell a ton of them in lots and things like that. So I've probably made like $1,500 off of that $35, which has been sweet. But yeah, like metal cassettes and rap cassettes and things like that sell extremely well. So that's been going really good this week.
And did bits. You want to harp on that some more?
Did yeah,
Did
did bit.
bits with our bromigos.
No, what was Kevin's original? What do you wanted to call it? Something about antiquities or something? Antiquities.
Antiquities.
Oh, man.
That doesn't sound right.
No, but yeah, good old district. We got some stuff going on there, but yeah, cassettes. I always give cassettes a bad rap, but they've been doing pretty well. I'm selling a good amount of CDs as well, and then my dad is just absolutely killing it on CDs. He's up to 85 items in his eBay shop, and he's selling 4 or 5 every single day at less than 100 items in his shop. So he's been killing it.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. He's
Yeah,
niche down.
yeah, and he's actually going to go to the Goodwill bins in Vegas. He's picking up my sister and brother-in-law from a flight, and he's got like 4 or 5 hours, and so he's just going to go to the bins and then just media bins all day. And he's just going to be super picky. He's just going to like look through hundreds of CDs and maybe only grab between 5 and 40, but he's only focusing on the ones that actually have a really fast sell-through rate, and he's just leaving everything else behind it. And it's going super, super well for him so far.
Speaking of places to source from,
Uh-huh.
and you brought up Goodwill being new here, but there's another Ben's place that you just went
Yeah.
to. How did you like that?
Yeah, so me and Archie Biscuit Butt went to the new Salvation Army bins. It's nothing like the Goodwill bins. So the
Nothing.
Goodwill bins, there's like it's just a big room with, I'd say there's 2 sides, and there's like 20 bins on this side and then 20 bins on this side.
Yeah.
And when you first walk in, all 40 bins are out, and it's just a madhouse. And then after like an hour, they'll clear out 20 bins, and then they'll bring in 20 new ones. And then everyone goes to that side. While everyone's pillaging this side, they'll take out these 20 and put in a new 20, and then everyone will go pillage that side. The Salvation bins, it just barely started. And so they put out one rotation, and it's only like, I think it's 8 bins. Of the 20 bins at the Goodwill location, there's like 10 hard goods and then 10 clothing. At this location, there's one media bin, there's one hard good bin, and then there's like 6 clothing bins, and they only rotate it like every 4 hours. So me and Archie went, and I think I walked away with one golf club and like 5 quick sell-through rate CDs, and then I think he got like 5 or 6 quick sell-through rate CDs again as well. But yeah, that's really all we could really get because there's just not a ton of stuff going on over there.
Now back to the Goodwill bins. When you
Yeah,
said people go pillage,
do they
do you
pillage, man?
are you one who waits in line for the new bins,
Oh,
or do you
absolutely. Yeah,
just you do? I'm the opposite. I
yeah.
I don't like to be bumped around and stuff. Like
Uh-huh.
I get all angered and such. So I'm like, you go do you. I know I could still find some afterwards, and I have. I found like Lululemon, like
Yeah,
furry leggings, things like that. Some vintage bowling shirts that are inside out. I always feel like if there's a shirt inside out that nobody touches, so far 50% of the time it has been something worth over $40. So
yeah.
it's like, yes, don't flip things over. Be lazy. I'll dig through
The
that
uh
shit.
the Phoenix, Arizona bins get pretty crazy as well. And then the Salt Lake City bins are like super, super toned down. Like it's funny because I'll go to the Salt Lake bins and people will like complain that people are super aggressive and shovey and stuff. Because I mean they are. But in comparison to the Las Vegas bins, dude, it's nothing. The Las Vegas bins, there's elbows, there's people shouting. You're not allowed to record whatsoever. And
Unfortunately,
if anyone even gets out their phone to like look something up, people are like, no recording, no recording. So like
I admit
it's
I don't know
nuts.
how, but I do get away with taking out my phone, and I won't focus on recording,
Yeah,
panning. I'll just straightforward take a photo, like, or a quick little snippet of a video. But uh, I know Carry American Arbitrage. He got scolded at because he went inside there like, "Hey, I'm recording." And I've told friends before. I think Kristen, a Rural Squirrels one, when she came down, she battled
yeah.
me. It was the first time meeting her, and I told her, "Look, you can't record here. They do get after you." And this
She's
guy
probably
was
gonna be
quick.
fine.
This guy was quick. Like she had her phone, it was up against her, and she was turning, and this guy was all over her, almost like as if he knew. She might have had a look on her face. Am I going to get away with this?
Uh-huh.
But the way he did it though was pretty rude. It's like, hey,
Oh
we're
yeah,
still
for sure.
people. Like you got to come at people a certain way. But somebody else was recording that had just hugged that dude like a bro, and he didn't
Uh-huh.
say nothing. And I was just like, that's
Yeah.
not fair, but not my business. I warned you.
Uh-huh. No, yeah, it gets crazy in the Las Vegas spins for sure. We could do a whole 3 hour podcast on it because there's just so many experiences. One of the first times I ever went, they have an emergency exit door, and this guy, he just got a full like army duffel bag worth of stuff,
Oh,
and then he just bolted through that emergency door and stole the duffel bag, which it's only $1.89 a pound, so it probably would have been like $48 for the whole for
oh.
everything that he got. But he bolted through, and then, dude, this sounds like I'm making this story up, but it's actually true. There was this like private investigator guy there, and he, dude, ran to his car, and then he like citizen arrested, pulled him over, and then brought the bag back, and he like walked in like he was this superhero, and everyone's just like, bro, we don't care, man. So, dude, it was so wild, man. I'm like, wow, is this real life right now? This is nuts. And he's like, the private investigator's like, yeah, like I pulled him over. He's like, I'm so sorry, I come here all the time. Like, I promise I'll never do this again. And he's like, don't tell me, tell this store. It was funny. It was wild, man.
Mr. Macho. That's funny, man. But it's also dangerous, folks. Let people run away with stuff. You don't know what they have.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Could be
that's some
dangerous.
risky business. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
sure.
definitely don't. I've never done it. I take my phone out all the time to look things up, and people are cool. People even
Yeah.
like recognize me, like, oh, Jared Flips, so they know that I like record things. And so people like watch me like a hawk, but I just get my phone out and I just look stuff up, put it back in my pocket. It's not a big deal, but they definitely do not want you recording in there whatsoever. It gets pretty nuts.
It gets nuts. We should talk more about Ben's horror stories and thefts and stuff in the future on another one.
Yeah, we'll have a rural squirrel on, and we'll do a bins special because that's all she does as far as I know. She just goes to bins all across the country and rates them
Yeah.
and
I
says,
reach
hey,
out to her.
yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Kristen, Real Squirrel.
but yeah, any interesting sales this week?
What did I just had? I had some shoes. There were some bad shoes, but I already had got them. I don't know how I overlooked them. Maybe I got a swap out at the bin. Speaking of it,
Uh-huh.
because I don't remember the color, and even in the video, I don't have it recorded of the few things that I recorded. But there were some Hokas that I sold for $28, and they were uneven. But I showed it in the description. I showed it in the photos, and I'm like, whew, that actually sold for full asking price. So
Mhm.
it already got a review back. Anyways, I actually have two eBay stores, so I'm changing some stuff up on my end.
You're one of those
Um,
guys, huh?
yeah, I'm one of those guys. I just started because some things were happening. Not bad. I was just getting viewers that were going into eBay and leaving me all these messages that
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the post. It was about
Yeah.
YouTube, and I don't want eBay to look at it as if there's something wrong or there's
Yeah.
words that AI picks up that's going to affect me. So I ended up changing some things around. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and just a disclaimer here. It's not a super huge deal, but like if you ever want to ask, your favorite influencer, Kevin talks about this on his channel all the time. I talk about it pretty often too. If you ever have a question about anything about YouTube or reselling information or anything like that, don't reach out to us on eBay because eBay is super strict of keeping sales on a platform. And a lot of people will say like, hey, will you DM me on Instagram and answer to my question? And then eBay will flag that immediately, and then it can lead to some negative consequences for someone who you were just trying to contact about a question about promoted listings or
yeah,
something like
something
that. So
innocent but taken
yeah,
different. Yeah,
make sure you ask that question on an email or on Instagram or Facebook. Don't reach out to me on Facebook. That's where I get the most messages and they get buried the most. But if you reach out to me on my email, jredflips@gmail.com, or Instagram DMs, I get to those decently as well. But yeah, definitely don't reach out to people on eBay because eBay will just take it as you're trying to sell stuff off the platform that's already listed on the platform to circumvent fees, and they definitely, I mean, they're a business to make money. So yeah, they're definitely
yeah.
justified in policing that for sure. But yeah, I'll get messages all the time like, hey J-Rad, I love your YouTube videos. I had a question. Can I put vintage as the first word in my titles? I'm like, please reach out to me on my email. But then you can't even say that because if you say, hey, please
It's
please don't
outside.
message me here. Please email me, eBay will be like, why are you trying to circumvent the chat? Like, we're going to ban your account or suspend your account, things like that. So just make sure you guys aren't doing that to anyone.
Yeah, it's
But
it's
yeah.
so Manini, but yet so wrong in their eyes. And I get it.
Mhm.
And I think why it's like that with eBay that does that because there are people that actually do it.
Oh,
And then you come
100%.
along that it's an innocent thing that you're trying to assist somebody, right? Because you have a huge heart and you care, which is why. And then all of a sudden it just gets taken wrong. Good intentions, bad reaction.
So let's talk about this for a minute. This is a controversial take that I have. A lot of people get upset with me when I say this, but I think that eBay's fees are actually very realistic and fair because we pay our 13% in fees to them and they show our items to hundreds of millions of people. And so a lot of people will list their item on eBay so it can be seen, and then they'll try to message buyers and be like, hey, you just bought this for $100. If you just send me your address, I'll send you my PayPal. Just send me $85 and I'll ship it to you. So that way we both get a better deal and we don't have to pay fees. And people are like, oh, sweet. And so then it's like you got the service that eBay provides of putting your, because if you tried to sell that in your local city, probably would have got $20 for it. Because you put it on a global market in front of hundreds of millions of people, now you're able to get the global price, which is $100. But then you just say, hey, eBay, thanks for providing that service for me, but I'm not going to pay you for it. I'm going to circumvent your fees and then still get the global price by just avoiding and still using your platform. So that's why the fees are in place. The fees are in place because they give us eyeballs to hundreds of millions of customers.
It's
they
established.
they do the advertising for us. I know that things are starting to change a little bit with offsite promoted listings, how we're actually kind of doing the advertising for eBay. That's a new thing, but for the last 2 decades, eBay has been pumping billions and billions of dollars into Google, into Facebook ads, into radio ads, and things like that on our behalf to create a customer base. And then when we just say, hey, thanks for getting this sale for me, but I'm going to go ahead and not give you any of the fees for it. That's obviously something that eBay goes after, which is totally justifiable in my opinion.
Yeah, I've never really had any issues with eBay. A few
Mm-hmm.
of the return requests have been items that didn't get returned, and it was in my favor. But I've never had glitches of items missing or just something bad happen. And I've been reselling since 2017. Um, yeah, I've never really had issues, and I've never minded fees. Those are things to where,
Yeah.
like you said, it's established. It's already has all these people there, these potential customers that are looking for these items. Which is why when you look up things, you're able to see the listed items, and then you're able to see the sell rate or the sold
Mm-hmm.
comps that are on there. So imagine not having any of that and trying to just start off your own website, which you can. A lot of people are successful doing it, but this is just much easier. And
Yeah.
still, even if you create a website, like if you go on Spotify, Big Cartel, if you or Shopify, if you go on them, they still charge a fee for something. PayPal
Yep.
charges a
They
fee
do.
because they have to do maintenance on all this stuff as well. So I don't mind the fees at all, especially when I'm finding items for like $5, sells for 20. If I find an item for less, sells for 100. Take it. Take
Mm-hmm.
those 13%. Just try not to take any more for me.
Yeah, and it sucks because you're like, oh well, I sold this item for $300 and I'm actually only getting 220. Like, dude, it sucks that I'm missing out on $80. I should have just sold this locally at a yard sale. And it's like,
Do
no,
it.
bro, dude, you're gonna get $40 for it at a yard sale. You're not gonna get close to the 220 that you're gonna get from eBay, even after all the fees and stuff. And not only that, but like eBay is they have in-house processing, so they like make the transaction seamless on a payment side as well. Because dude, if you don't have a website like that and you try to sell that Jordan poster on your wall to someone in Chicago, and then you don't have a payment process, the guy's like, "Hey, can I just use my credit card?" And you're like, "Well, no, I don't know how to I don't know how to get your money off your credit card. I guess we could use Square, but then that's going to be payment fees too. eBay just takes. I think we sometimes we forget that eBay just takes care of all that. And like, dude, I know some people have negative opinions on eBay and stuff, but like, dude, eBay's a blessing, man. It really is. It really is an awesome platform. There's some things they do really awesome. There's some things that they do that's a little questionable, not optimal. That's like, man, we get to The reason why reselling online is successful is because we're able to buy things at a local price and sell them on a global market. So that's why a lot of people in New York and in Los Angeles tend to struggle with reselling, because the cost of living is so high in those areas that, like, if you go into a small town in Mississippi or Alabama or Louisiana, if you go into a thrift store and someone's charging $100 for really anything out of a thrift store, it's outrageous because the local market is demanding $6, not 100. But in Los Angeles, the cost of living is so high, people make triple what they make in those other states, and so the market is like, yeah, it sucks, but like we're willing to pay $40 for that item, and then Goodwill tries to get 65 out of it instead of 40, but that's a different discussion. But the reason why reselling works is because we're able to pay $6 for an item at the local market that's worth $100 on the global market. And then eBay is just the agent that issues that transaction in between. And we just give them 13 to 20% for the transaction.
I like that you brought up trying to sell like $100 item at a garage sale.
Yeah.
I can't stand, and probably a lot of people can agree. I can't stand when there are eBay signs and Art mentioned it sells
Uh-huh.
for this much on eBay. So I've started saying this when I was going to yard sales last year when the season was before it ended. I would say, but there's fees that are taken out of there. There's photos that are taken. There's a shipping process, and there's all of this, and it really comes down to this price, right? Sells
Yeah.
for 100, but you're not making 100. Um, and they're like, well, so I start to use that in better words to
Yeah.
get a better price and let them know. And they're like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. It's like, cool.
Plus,
I'm glad you're learning, but there's also
uh-huh.
more to learn. And a lot of times you teach them too, and they're like, oh, I should do that. There has been a few times though where I found things that are worth hundreds of dollars, and you could see like the husband or the wife really likes something. I think in my case, for this memory that I recollect was a Yankee Stadium, and this was a pretty big little like replica, brand new in the box. You could see the clear through transparent plastic, and the guy's like, "My wife wants me to get rid of this," and he looked like he was just dreading getting rid of it. And I looked it up, and it came up right away that there were only two listed, but like 100 sold for around $300 to $400, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that's
Like I
nuts.
usually don't do this, and it looks like you want this, but this is how much they sell for. And he just grabbed it and he told his wife, "This is how much it's worth. We just sell it on eBay." She
Yep.
said, "I'll help you sell it on eBay if that's how much it's worth." And he got it on the phone himself. He had the app, and I was showing him how to look at the difference of listing and sold. But I rarely do that. But there's some things that you just see that people are still attached to items. Where it's like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? There's still plenty of stuff out there in the thrift sea for us to get at.
And then back to your original point where they just like have the listing printed off at a yard sale. 9 out of 10 times it's a listed price, not a sold price.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, no, this DVD VCR combo player is worth $400, and it's like, no, you found the one listing that's way above market that someone's
Yeah.
asking for 400, but it's actually selling for $80. So
Or
it's like,
you Google
it's worth
lens it
80.
and it's
It's
the
not
same
worth
thing.
400. And then
Yeah.
again, it's worth 80 on the global market, but here in town, you're gonna be lucky to get $15 there, my guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few more sales that I had this week. I actually sold that. Did I mention the Bose remote last week? I think
No,
I just,
I
yeah,
don't think
I
you
think I
did.
sold it like 3 or 4 days ago. I sold a Bose remote control for $140 plus shipping. Just a remote, just one remote. It was to the Bose Lifestyle 35 system, and I bought the whole system for $100. I know. I did I explain this last podcast, or was this just on a different video that I
No,
did?
it's
I'll
different.
talk about it then. I bought a Bose system for $100. It came with the subwoofer that I have listed for 120 plus shipping. The actual system itself with no cords I have listed for $150 plus shipping. The 6 cords that plug into it I have listed for $120 plus shipping. I already sold the remote for 140. There's one speaker that I already sold for 35 plus shipping, and then there's 4 other speakers I have listed for $120 plus shipping, and then one last cable that I have listed for 40. So $100 is going to end up selling for like, I don't know, $950. So that's pretty sweet.
That's major right there. And then with Bose folks too, sometimes you're gonna find particular speakers
Yep.
that connect to certain things like receivers, some little gadgets that go on it. Sometimes you may not have it to test it, but some of them Bose systems take an app. So you could use the app to have it turn on and see it on your end on the app of if it's actually working and turn it on rather than it just be blank or just have a digital screen. I've sold a few Bose system that way that I didn't have anything else connected with other than the Bose app.
And while we're on Bose, this is a pitfall that a lot of new and even seasoned resellers fall into. They're like, oh, just because it's Bose, it's going to sell really well. There's tons of Bose that you can't get rid of for $8. like the Bose speaker that has the iPod plug-in. You can plug in your iPod and it stands up like this and it just plays music. You can't give those away. But like a Bose speaker, the Bose Solo or the Bose SoundLink II, those things sell immediately for hundreds of dollars. So like, just because it's Dyson doesn't mean it's going to sell for a ton of money. Just because it's Bose doesn't mean it's going to sell for a ton of money. But
Mhm.
if it's Dyson and Bose, it's much more likely that it's going to sell for more money. But you still got to do the research of each individual item and make sure there's an actual market for it. Because, like I just said, there's a ton of Dyson that will not sell. But then, like, you can find Dyson like this. I got this for $25. I'm going to be able to sell this brush head for 45. The wand goes for 20. The canister goes for 40. The motor goes for 40. The wall unit goes for 15. And then the battery goes for 15. But then there's other Dyson equipment that you just can't give away. So you have to keep looking up each individual model.
Swear, J-Ride is like the Dyson whisperer.
Dude, I love Dyson. I love Dyson and I love Bose, but you can't pick up all Dyson Bose. Or like this Logitech mouse that I use. This is a really nice mouse. It's the MX Master S3. Anyone that does editing, Apple Magic, yep, I sell those a lot too. This is a dope mouse that's like $120, and its resale value is really strong, still at like 75. But other Logitech mouses, I just listed one this morning for $12. And there's a lot of Logitech mouses that I pass on because they won't even sell for $4 free shipping. So just because it's a nice brand doesn't always mean it's going to sell.
When I do look at mouses, the only ones that I will pick up and touch, which is probably bad, but it's usually the unique shaped ones are the one with the balls that
Yeah,
are on there.
the track balls.
The red balls. You got to touch the balls at times,
Uh-huh.
but usually those are the only things I will look at when it comes to mice. If there's more than one,
I think it's computer mouses. I ask this on my
mouses.
channel all the time, and a lot of people say it's mice if it's the animal, it's mouses if it's the
Oh
computer
yeah,
mouse.
good point.
I don't know. But yeah, I sold a World of Warcraft mouse. I
Ooh.
think like just over a year ago, 15 months or so ago, for $400 used. It was just World of Warcraft, and then I've also sold like gaming mice. I find mouses, whatever. I find them every once in a while that sell for $180, for $200. I find those at least quarterly, sometimes once a month. I'll find at least an $80 mouse. Mouses, whatever they're called. They
You
sell for
just
good money
reminded me
too.
of some Warhammer items I have, from books to I think a board game, which is pretty valuable.
Yeah, Warhammer goes for good money. I think
Yeah.
just each individual piece goes for really good money too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Sourcing this week has been pretty good. At the thrift stores, it's been slow just because it's the coldest time of the year. It's finally starting to warm up, but it's pretty hot one week, and then this week today it's 72 today, which is awesome. But 3 days from now, the high is going to be 51, and so it's just like up and down. But once it starts to be 70 or more every single day, people are going to start donating a ton. They're going to start doing more and more yard sales. And so I'm excited for sourcing to start popping up.
I am too. I also want to make content of it because that's not something I
Yeah.
was sharing too much before, but this year that's going to be a changer. New
Yeah.
edition.
Good old content. Yeah, I'm really excited for March and April and May. I don't know. I got big plans for the J-Ride Picks channel. But yeah, I haven't been able to post really any yard sale content because there hasn't been any. And I just barely started the J-Ride Picks channel in the dead of winter last month in January. But yeah, I've had some thrifting videos. Some of them have done pretty well, and then but I really think that yard sale videos are going to start doing really well. So I'm really excited to get those going.
Me
Yeah,
too. This time of the year, there's going to be the income tax is starting to come in with some people.
uh-huh.
People are starting to follow them, so they're all going to be buying like new things, and then feel like they don't need the old stuff, which is what we like because that old stuff is new stuff to us, new
Yep.
inventory. So I love this time of the year. Just
Yeah,
not so much when the heat kicks up,
yeah.
and here in Vegas, it becomes like a furnace.
You know, it gets hot in Vegas. It gets really hot in St. George too. Like August, I think the average temperature is like 109. Maybe not the average. Maybe the average is like 105, 104.
I would
But
prefer 105 over 118
yeah.
here.
Dude, freaking Phoenix. Phoenix. One time I was in Phoenix and it
Phoenix
was
burns you alive.
120, 122. It was
Have you
wild.
ever gone thrifting in Phoenix?
The last time I was in Phoenix, so I've been to the bins once. And the Phoenix area has a couple DIs as well, but I haven't been in a super long time. I used to coach the high school rugby team, and we would play two teams from Arizona every year. So I know the area decently well. Plus, I have some cousins that live there. But yeah, I hear Phoenix thrifting is pretty good.
Yeah, I have some friends out there, reseller friends and family out there, my wife's side, and they tell me all the time that they just don't have enough money to thrift all day. There's just so much stuff that's out there. And then one of them was from TikTok, the amazing Jesse. He was saying that there's some areas that I would love because a lot of people aren't into glass and they just have
Mhm.
glass figurines, things that he sees me in my video have. And he was like, Sonny, that's there. You got to come out sometime. So I want to go back. I loved it there. I went to the bins there when there was the camp listing party a while back. And that's when I went with Kevin, Commonwealth, Three Sheds. He got kicked out. I think he was recording and kids, which were like early 20s, maybe they were complaining and they got management to come out and
Those are called T-shirt bros.
oh, t-shirt rolls. I don't like
T-shirt
saying
bros.
that. I'll be honest. But yeah, it was like him, Carrie, and a few other ones. They came up to me like, "Sonny, don't record. They're gonna kick you out." And I just turned away from them because I wasn't with them the entire time to
Uh-huh.
draw. I didn't want attention drawn to me because they were always huddled together looking
It's
at
almost like
things.
that's your personality or something.
I was off to the side. Yeah, I was a little hermit off on the end. Like I said, I don't go towards the crowds of stuff. I like to be in the more mellow, calmer parts of the water.
Yeah, but have you ever been to those flea markets out in Kingston, Arizona?
No, I've
That's
never
not
been out there
that's not
other
far
than the
from here.
bins.
Do you know about Kingston, Arizona?
No.
Or it might be Kingman.
Hmm.
What's it called? Let me look it up real quick. They have like really good flea markets out there.
Anybody out in Arizona drop some knowledge on us
Kingman.
for us to check out?
Yeah, it's called Kingman. It's right outside of Bullhead City.
Hmm.
You just hop on the 40 for like less than 5 or 6 miles, maybe 10. But yeah, no. I just got like 4 notifications on Poshmark. People are bundling. Um, no, yeah, in Kingsman, Arizona, they have huge flea markets. I'm surprised you've never been to them because you're so close
No.
in Vegas. Yeah, we'll have to go sometime. I hear they
Yeah,
get wild.
it's a date.
It's a date, dude. Oh, but yeah, so yeah, that's yeah, sourcing and sales went pretty good this week. Um, I have come all the way down to 1,680 active items. At one point, I was at 3,000 about 3.5 months ago, and I've just been selling on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. I have well over a 100% sell-through rate when you combine all three platforms together. And I just keep trying to pick up really fast sell-through rate items, and I'm maintaining an average. But this week has been down slightly.
Yeah, this week has been a little slow, but still good with the items that have sold. My average sell through rate, average sell price, I would say is probably like around $48 on
Oh yeah,
eBay.
that's good. Strong.
Yeah, yeah, on
Yeah,
average.
as I've been because dude, I'm trying to get down to like 1,000 items. I think that would be pretty. I want to have 1,000 items and still sell 15 a day is my goal. Um, just list 15 and sell 15 every day at 1,000. That'd be really sweet. Because on eBay right now, let's do the last week, or we can just do the last 30 days.
Tell them how much you made, Jay. Tell them how much you made.
Okay, so I'm only at 4 sales today, and it's yeah, today's a bit slower too. Okay, so in the last 31 days, we're at 452 sales. So we'll just minus 4 from that and then divide by 30. So I'm selling literally 15 items a day on eBay, 14.933333. And then I'm selling like, I don't know, 3 items a day on Mercari, just like 2 a day on Poshmark, just because I'm not like sourcing clothes actively, so I'm just slowly selling off. And then I'll just do Whatnots where I sell like 40 shirts.
Yeah,
So
you do very well with on Whatnot selling
dude,
shirts.
my last Whatnot was awful though. Yesterday was so bad. I
That's
don't
an
know. I
option
don't.
though. That's an
Yeah.
option for you. There's
Uh-huh.
different options for people to go to, and they may not see you online because they're in somewhere else and supporting them, which is good.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what happened yesterday though. I usually average about 80 people in my auctions, the last few.
Wow.
But yesterday, my average audience was like 17 or 18. And I had Jeff, Apex Jeff. He's a pretty strong member of the community. He's always in my chats and Soda City Flips chats, and he's always hanging out. Um, he was there, and then I had a really big supporter from TikTok called the seller shop, but like with a C, like a basement seller. And luckily those two were there, like actually bidding a little bit. But if it wasn't for those two, yeah, man, it was pretty nuts. It was definitely my lowest payout from a Whatnot show in a very long time. But hey, I'm happy for it because I'm getting rid of my clothing, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just getting out of clothing pretty much completely. I'm gonna keep picking up vintage Western Wrangler shirts, and I'm gonna keep
Yeah, I've
picking
seen
up
that
Robert.
colorful one that
Yeah.
sells for like 80 or 90.
Oh, I have one. Oh, I had that right there. Yeah. No, I sold that to someone on Whatnot, and they canceled, and I was gracious enough to accept the cancellation. But yeah, most Whatnot sellers will not accept a cancellation whatsoever, and I
I see
understand
some of their
because
notes, their little bio, they'll say, I would not cancel orders.
yeah. Well, yeah, because it is like it does suck because it's like, hey, you're bidding in an auction, and like Sonny might have bought that for 28, but you bid for 29, and then now you're not gonna pay. And it's like, dude,
Yeah,
just let Sonny pay for it for 28. You know,
right.
like it gets very frustrating. But she said, you know, she was very new and whatever. So I just said, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I'm gonna keep picking up those. I'm gonna keep picking up Robert Graham's. I'm gonna keep picking up just like again, just my shop, just anything over 80% sell rate, I'll keep picking up. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing a ton of clothing in the future. I'm down to about 400 active items of shirts and jackets and pants. At one point, I was at like 1,100.
Yeah, I have a lot of apparel. I just haven't listed it all, but I am filtering through all of the better and the okay ones to take to the flea market. So gonna get a lot of stuff off my hands in 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude, I'll probably end up going to Vegas that weekend then, just to see you at the flea market.
Yeah, just to see me, not to
Just
buy
to see.
anything. Yeah, you just walk off
No, I did. I get there. The
early.
flea my flea market strategy has been going pretty well too. I get there as people are setting up, and I just try to get I pay up a little bit for the best stuff because it's the morning, and so like I got a calculator. She wanted 15. I was able to get it for 12. If it was still there hours later, I probably would have been able to get it for 7 or 10. But because it was in the morning, she knew. She's like, I can get 15 for this if I just wait. If I just wait 20 more minutes, someone else will scoop it up. So I gave her 12 for it. But I pay up in the mornings while people are still actually setting up. And then I'll go to a really good thrift store, and then I'll come back, and then it's everyone is open, everyone's already sold off some of the good stuff, and now it's deal making time. Where it's like, yeah, man, like I can't give you full price for this. Like let's hash it out or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I wait. I'm an early bird when it comes to action. I'm not. an early bird when it comes to me sourcing there, but I am one when I go and sell there. I want to be ready before the gates open because there's also a lot of the vendors that will go and source from you. And
Uh-huh.
even with them, when they're trying to like give me low ball offers, because vendors will do that to other vendors,
Oh yeah, for
um,
sure.
they'll
I
do
see
it,
that
and
all
I'll
the time.
say, I haven't even opened yet. You know, if it's here at towards afternoon time, if it's here, I'll give you it for that price.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not trying to do that too early. It's like listing something on eBay for 100 whatever price, and then you get an offer within 2 minutes, like
For
at
65. Yeah.
yeah, or 50%, and you're like, it just got listed. I'm gonna wait for another sale. It doesn't always work.
Not
Sometimes
not
like,
every
damn
time,
it,
but
I should have accepted it, but you don't know until you know. Same
yeah.
same thing.
Same thing. Same thing, but digitally instead of in person.
Yeah, you could give them a little chop towards the throat, like knock that off.
Yeah. But speaking of digitally, are you do you think you'll ever invest into the good old VR headset and stuff like that?
What did that remind me of the other day? There was something that came out before that of the digital. Oh, Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Yeah.
That's been out several years now, and I was watching it the other day. And I was like, wait, this was already out. I wonder if they stole the concept from there. But
Mhm.
no, I don't think I'll ever get it. Only because I'll be too caught up in it and not
Yeah.
do the things I need to do, unless it was like something that actually helped me in the reseller world. But
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that would come off right with the content that I do.
Well, the Apple VR headsets are like $4,000 right now.
Yeah, I'll find it at the thrift store in about a week for $15.
Dude, that would be so nice. I find the Meta Quests every once in a while at the thrift stores.
Yeah.
Those go for like 400 new. They resell for like 180 to 250. I'm able to find those at thrift stores for like $50 every once in a while, but that's pretty rare to find. I don't know, man. Like it's just gonna be interesting to see what VR actually does to our lives and what AI actually does to our lives. Because everyone's like, "Nah, dude, I'm never gonna drive a car. I'm just gonna stay with the horse," you know. And now everyone has a car and no one has horses except for farmers. It's just wild. I don't know. Like my wife and I, we talk about it all the time. We don't have kids yet, but we will sometime. And like we don't want to have iPad kids. Like our kids will have iPads and we will utilize the technology, but we
Yeah.
don't want our kids to freaking go to Applebee's with us and just be on the iPad instead of. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm gonna try to limit VR and things like that. Plus, I get migraines. I actually have one
Mm.
right now, but I'm just powering through it for the podcast. And just staring into these lights is awesome. But
Do it for the
yeah, but
reseller
every
island
time every
cheeks.
time I put like VR or something, dude, I just get so dizzy so quick and I can't handle it.
It's all the light in there.
Yeah,
It's a lot of lighting.
yeah, you gotta
I could
Google.
see it. There's a lot of apps that are coming out. I think one was called In the Loop, where if you take a photo, it gives you all the measurements for stuff. I was seeing it on TikTok, but I could imagine that being something that works, like say in your office where you're not really out and about. For me, at least,
Hmm.
of getting an item, putting it on a wall, take a picture, and I'm just like, bam, dropping it off on eBay, and it's doing everything for me. It's the future, so your imagination is possible, and with the way things are coming out and how really brilliant people are to put things together
Well,
to help one another, a necessity, they're going to be making bank.
yeah, for
So
sure. Have you heard of the Meta Ray Bans?
not the Meta Ray Bans, but I've seen the video recording regular glasses one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just Ray Ban, the company. They just have sunglasses, and then they've partnered with Facebook, that's known as Meta now. That they just have little chips in your glasses. It's like if you go to an Asian country and you don't speak the language, and you like want to go out to eat, and it has the sign in front of you, you can just like push the button, and then it'll translate it into English for you. I have a contact that has those glasses, and he let me like just like fool around with them and wear them for a second as we were talking some business and stuff. And yeah, dude, they're wild. So like, it also has the Google Lens built into it, and so like I can just like look at something at a thrift store and then just tap it and say Google, and then it'll like pull up information. And then I can like tap it again and say recent purchases, and then it'll show me, oh, these sold for $80 on Mercari. Oh, this sold for $45 on just like things
Wow.
like that. So like, and that's like very beta because like I'll look at this like Mountain Dew can, for example, and it'll just show me Pepsi cans and Coca-Cola cans and like things like that. So like if I look at like a even a DVD VCR combo player, and I just hit purchases, it'll show me like just VCR players in general. So it still has like a lot to learn. But dude, like it's just gonna keep going very quickly. And I always imagined like, man, I wish I could just like sit back and then just like take a picture and then like everything worth $40 or more would just start glowing red. And
Right.
I could just go grab those. Who knows? That might start coming one day, you know?
I could see it doing if they could do measurements of stuff to get something, hold it out, or hang it up on the wall, and it takes measurements for you, and just little info like that. Imagine what it could do to just source things.
Yeah.
I would. You'd just be walking around so fast. It would be a lot smoother. Would it take away the fun? Maybe, but I think it would be even more exciting to just expedite every little effort to
Mm-hmm.
getting profitable items come in and know that it's like real real data that's coming in and not something where you're focusing. Let me open up my app and get out of things and
Mm-hmm.
type it in. It's going to be a lot more convenient.
No,
Speed.
it's just gonna be a new thing to adapt to because the thrift stores will be able to do that too. They'll just have a bin of things and they'll just like, okay, how much is this worth? How much is this worth? Okay, sweet. Yeah, we're just gonna put this online. We're not gonna put this on the floor, and then it'll be even more challenging, and we'll have to adapt to that, to a sourcing and things too. And flea market vendors, you'll go and you'll be like, how much do you want for this? And they'll be like, 1 second. Oh, I want 60. It's like, oh, okay, now we have to adapt to that. It's like, it's just gonna be different. Like the
Now I could
strong
have.
the strong entrepreneurs and business people will always make more money, and then the people that are slower to adapt will make less and less money.
That is
That's the
true.
way it is.
That is very true. But I could
Yeah.
also see it being used by the thrift stores. I
Oh,
could
for
see
sure.
people at
Yeah.
a table and it's just like racks, and they're just like next, next,
Yep.
next, and they're filtering out the good stuff from us.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
yeah,
I'm
that's what I'm,
for it
that's what
and
I'm
then
saying.
scared
Like,
about it.
because like Shop Goodwill is already establishing a presence, and they're already holding back more and more and more items. And then if they can just make that investment into all their employees, like, hey, everyone put on these $600 glasses, and then just make, you'll make your investment back day one for each employee. And then it's just like, hey, sweet, yeah, just keep finding all the things that are worth at least $80, and then give them to the manager, and then the manager will go in the back room and start putting them on eBay. It's
Or
gonna be pretty
just
nuts.
sending
It'll
Las
be it'll be
Vegas stuff.
something that we'll have to adapt to for sure.
Always adapting in this world, regardless of what you do, reselling job, it's always adapting, always evolving policies, updates, quotas. It's
Yep.
it's forever changing. It's
Oh
inevitable.
yeah. But yeah, there will always be money to be made. Like everyone, back in the day, they're like, "Oh, Craigslist is destroying reselling." And it's like,
But people loved it. I loved it back in the day.
and then I was like, "Oh, dude, Storage Wars and Pawn Stars is destroy." Like people probably said that, like, "Oh, eBay is destroying." Like in 1995, 96, like, "Oh, eBay is destroying reselling," and it still continued on.
Now
Oh,
it's
Craigslist is
resellers and
destroying.
content creators
Craigslist
that
is.
are
Uh-huh.
ruining it
Yeah,
for
now
everybody.
everyone's giving away the secrets on TikTok and YouTube. You're destroying.
It's
It's
no
like, no, dude,
secret.
people are still thriving everywhere, man.
There's no secrets.
Little secrets everywhere. Yep. And I expose them. I do my best to give everyone the little secrets.
Exposing secrets.
Exposing resellers for who they truly are.
Amazing.
All you content creators out there, you got to use buzzwords. Expose, lazy, hoarder, easiest. Just yeah. Stop, don't. Buzzwords gets views.
This
Your content can suck, and as long as you use like 2 or 3 buzzwords, you should do pretty well. Although, don't listen to me, dude. My TikTok has been awful the last my last 20 videos, man. Have just I at one point, like, I was really building it up. I have a ton of million view videos, not a ton, but on Facebook I have like 4 at least 1 million view videos. On TikTok, I think I have 6, and then I have a ton of 500,000, 300,000. But lately, dude, I've only been averaging like 12,000, and I'm not complaining about that. But I'm just like, man, I got to go back to the drawing board because I've just been getting slaughtered on TikTok recently. I
how
was
many
going from
content
like,
creators out here watching this have content that has got them 500,000, a
mhm.
million views? I will tell you right now, mine's super easy. Zero. I think the most that I've have is one on TikTok that's like 118,000.
Oh, that's good. That's good though.
That's the one I shared with you.
Your blanket.
Yeah, this was after 2 years, folks. After 2 years, it was getting a little bit of views, and then all of a sudden, I think it's been 3 months now. I just started seeing all these alerts of for this one video, and it just skyrocketed up to 118,000 from, at the time, I think it was like 20, 30,000, but after 2 years. And it's
Yeah.
still going up. It gets traction,
That's
however reason.
it's called delayed explosion. Philly Flipper is a good example of that too. He was posting his metrics on a video. I think the thumbnail is a kid with some Pokemon cards. I can't remember what his title was, but I think it immediately, like, I don't know the exact numbers on it, but you can just see it got a bunch of views, and then it just like plateaued for months, and then it got a ton of views, and then it plateaued again for months, and then like a third time it got a ton of views, and now that video is over 1 million views, and I think it took like a whole year to get to 1 million. But like I don't know if it got like 10,000 at the beginning or 200,000 or whatever it was, but it just shot up, plateaued, and shot up again, plateaued, and shot up again. And it's over 1 million now at this point. But yeah, delayed explosion. Don't delete anything.
Yeah,
Let
don't
it
delete
let
it.
it simmer.
Don't delete it.
Because YouTube is just constantly learning about audiences and stuff, and it's just waiting for those signals. So like some of my videos, they've done that too on a smaller scale, where they'll just immediately get 7,000. My video that like kind of started to put to like really, so I got monetized on my first channel, J-Ride Flips, after 11 days. My first 9 videos, I was averaging 80 views a video, and then my 10th video only got like 65 views, but it was a really good video. And then 3 days later, it shot up to 1,000, which at the time for me, it was just like awesome. Like, holy cow, I have 1,000 view video. And then that I went to sleep, and then I woke up and it had 27,000 views. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I got like 1,100 subscribers just from that video. So I immediately got monetized. And then I went to sleep again, and I woke up. And then by the time I went to sleep, it was at like 33,000. And then I woke up again, it was at 47,000. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And so that's what got me.
The key to views is to make sure you sleep.
Yeah, just sleep.
Yeah, that's the hack.
When you wake
Sleep.
up, it's there. No, so it's just like, and then my most viewed video right now, for those of you that don't know, when you upload videos on YouTube, after 30 minutes, it'll tell you how the video is doing in comparison to your last 10 videos. And if your video is doing terrible, it's a 10 out of 10. And if your video is doing really good, it's a 1 out of 10. It's the most views that it's gotten in the 30-minute period compared to your last 9 videos. So my most viewed video on my J-Ride Flips channel, I think it has like 140,000 views or something like that. In the first 6 hours, it was a 9 out of 10. It was just a terrible video. It just like was not performing well at all, and that sucked. But then again, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, it was a 7 out of 10. I'm like, okay, this is gaining a little bit of traction. And then by the end of that day, it was a 1 out of 10, and it just started pumping. And now that video, still to this day, it's been posted for, let's see how long. That video has been posted for 4 months now, and it still gets 20K views every month. It still is getting just under 1,000 views every single day, and it's 4 months old, which is awesome. So it just keeps going up and up and up, which is awesome.
Yeah, good old Dave. When people talk about viral, I like the way Dave said this. Maybe twice that he's said it over a few months. Viral is different for different people. You could have, say, 50 views, and that'd be a lot for you. And then all of a sudden you end up getting 300 views. And to you, that could be viral. So it doesn't necessarily mean 100,000, which everybody would want bigger numbers, right? But sometimes those little things, you really have to take it in and say, hey, I did better than the last one, and try to figure it out.
Yep.
And I've learned off of content is not to make too much changes and be more informative with things. Although I feel I could always do more, you can't. Not when it comes to content creating. You could be stuck on one item that you pick up and not even get to the rest of the video if you wanted to. So it's trying to find a balance of enough and give it to your viewers to teach them or educate them and be entertaining as well, like a good balance. But it's always something I still haven't figured out. Although people tell me I do very well with what I do and they enjoy it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I take in is, as long as they're enjoying it and people aren't killing me and beating me up in comments, then I'm doing something right. But even with the things that people correct me on, I welcome corrections because how else am I going to learn? There's always many more people that know more than me, regardless of their age and their expertise. They're just things that I haven't experienced yet or learned.
And just like we were talking about last week, it applies to every single aspect of life. Just gotta keep learning and everything you're
Freaking
doing.
life.
And it's always the videos for me that I put a ton of time into that usually don't perform as well.
Yeah.
And then it's the videos that I put no time into that always perform the best.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Just who knows how the algorithm works, but that's usually my case as well. It's like, this is gonna be amazing, and I got it done right, and everything works smooth, and then all
10
of a
out
sudden
of
it's
10.
like
Terrible.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then like my recent video that I just put out yesterday, I believe I put it out late in the evening, which I usually don't do. I usually put it out like at 6 in the morning to get the East Coast people who are probably already up before me, and then the people who have insomnia here in our time frame, or the West Coast, get them. They do very well, but this one I wasn't expecting much as in views, although I still love all my videos, and I had like 1,200 before midnight or 2,000 before midnight. I'm like, holy smokes. And it was a 2 out of 10. And then it went
Nice.
this morning a 4 out of 10. But I'm learning even with these numbers, which some people are probably like, what are you talking about? But if you go to YouTube Studio and look up your videos, that's a great way of learning a little bit more throughout time and who's watching, the age group, spikes in your videos of what people are actually maybe replaying that segment, so it's getting a lot more attention. A lot of little things that I didn't care about in the beginning, but I'm actually learning that it helps to know about to just make me better in the content that I'm providing.
Some pretty dope stuff. But yeah, man, have you ever had Dorito nachos?
Not nachos, but I've had Doritos tacos
Oh,
supreme.
the Doritos Locos tacos are really good too. No, but lately, like 4 out of my last 10 days of lunches, honestly, like 4 out of the last 6 days. I'm kind of addicted to them right now. You just put Doritos nachos on a plate, and then you put cheese and pork or beef, and you throw it in the microwave or the oven, and then you put little olives and onions and cilantro on top of it. Oh, dude, I've been
So
having that
you
for
don't
lunch.
cook the beef, folks. You just get it right out of the bag
Yep,
with
make
the
sure it's
little.
pink, and just throw it right in the microwave.
And me
No,
being
you gotta cook it
colorblind, I
first.
put it
Gotta
in
cook
for
it
five
first.
minutes because I can't see pink anyway, so it's all good.
Hey, for those of if you want to have a viral video, say I'm nervous to eat raw beef because I heard it gives me salmonella and I don't want salmonella. And then everyone in the comments will be like, "You idiot! You don't get that's E. coli. You're thinking of E. coli. Salmonella is from eggs and chicken." All blah, blah, blah. And then it'll just go viral. So there you
Yeah, don't do that, folks. We gotta say that. Don't do that. He said, "Say it, not do it." I do want to
go.
throw that in there.
But no, yeah, dude, these nachos nachos are really good.
I
Have
love
you ever
nachos.
done a nacho bar? This might be like a young Mormon double date thing, but
Oh, I guess we got to go on a day to find out. But tell us
we
about.
you take tinfoil and you just put it on your counter, and then you just throw a ton of chips on the tinfoil. You throw meat, you throw cheese, and then you just eat it off of the tinfoil off the counter. It's a nacho bar. You just invite friends over and you just eat it off the counter.
No, but that sounds pretty amazing. I would do
Dude,
that.
it's pretty dope, man.
Wait, do you double dip with sauces?
Double dip? No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Are
I
you
said
okay with
double.
people double dipping in your sauces, but you
No, I
don't?
said double date.
I
I
know
said
date, but I had to throw in. I just thought of food and double dipping.
double dip. I'm not a. Let's see. I'm not a double dip guy because I'm a one bite guy. So like
Oh,
Oreos, one bite. Um, you know how there's like the smaller spoon and then like the bigger spoon in each kitchenware set?
like a teaspoon and tablespoon?
Yeah. So every time I have cereal, I always use the bigger spoon because I like the bigger bite. So like I'm not I don't know if I'm a double dipper because I just take the biggest bite possible every time.
Uh,
you know. Like or like McDoubles from McDonald's. Back in high school, I would those would be like maybe 4 bites. Just 4 huge bites, and then those are done. I don't know.
so you never put the food down. It's like it stays in your hand till you
Yeah.
finish it. It's never like a burger where you bite it, you put it down, grab some chips, you just keep it in your hand and finish it.
Do you eat like, so if you like, let's say you go to a
feel like you're
barbecue.
an aggressive eater now, like competition wise.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. But when you eat food, like let's say you're at a barbecue and you have
Hmm.
like some
Uh-huh.
beans and some potato salad and then
Potato
some
salad, yeah.
corn and a chicken breast. Do you like eat one thing and then go to the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing? Or do you like take a bite of some beans and then go to your chicken and then go back to your beans, then maybe take some potato salad, then go back to your chicken, then back to your potato salad?
Yeah, I go around the world. Unless something's so good, I want it. But I
Uh-huh.
will say the weird thing about me, if something's really good, like say the chicken is the best thing, like just has the
You
flavor,
save it as the last bite.
I say yes, I save it
Yeah,
as the
dude, I
last
do
bite.
that. Yeah.
I have to have that taste just like linger as much as
Yeah,
possible.
exactly. Yeah, I do that with everything. With everything, I always make sure that my last bite is the best bite. And so, like, whether it's conscious or subconscious, just as I'm eating, I'm like just thinking, okay, what do I want to be my last bite? And it's almost always the protein for me, like the steak or the chicken or whatever. But every once in a while, like it'll be the fry or it'll be the mashed potatoes or
That
whatever
one
it is.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So this happens to me a lot. Although my wife knows me and we've been married for 12 years now. May will
Uh-huh.
be 13 years. So do you still say have your wife, you're eating together and you're saving this one piece and your wife will say, "Hey, you want a piece of my steak?" And you're like, "No, because I want to hold this last bite still." Do you still try that thing or you just say
No,
no?
no, my wife. I'll be saving my last bite, and she kind of knows that I do that.
Mm.
And then she'll wait until I'm not focused, and then she'll stab it and eat it. And I just, dude,
Huh.
it's terrible, man.
She's a
It's
G.
terrible.
That's why she's a G. That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, so you're just a little here, a little there, a little there. I know a lot of people that like they just eat their beans and then they eat their salad and then they eat their chicken. And I'm like, ah, it's too boring for me.
Do you eat your fries first before your burger? If you eat burgers.
No, yeah, I love burgers. No, I'll just take like a bite or two of the burger and then I'll have a ton of fries and I'll eat the burger and then I'll have some fries and I'll eat the burger and then whichever one tasted better is what I'll end with.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I eat. Dude, I don't know. It's just it's always
Weirdos.
almost everything in my life is like a science or a pattern. It gets kind of annoying sometimes, but yeah, even when I'm eating, like I'm constantly thinking about it in a
Are
logistical
you
way.
a smeller? Like when
No,
you
I
like
have
say
a
you get
friend.
coffee and of course you're gonna smell it, but do you get things like you get your utensils and you're like smelling your utensils?
No, but my best friend does that. He
Yeah,
smells everything. Like
everything.
literally, like we'll go on a hike and he'll like pick up some dirt and then he'll just like keep walking
You're like,
and
what
then
are
we'll
you
like
doing?
come on.
Shut up.
I'll be like, whoa, did you see that plant? And he'll like, I'm like, why are you smelling it? He's like, I don't even know.
Poison ivy.
I just smell it. He just smells everything. It's weird. Like one
My
time I
brother,
asked him
my
about it, and
brother's
he's
like
like,
that.
one time I asked him, I'm like, why'd you smell that? And he's like, I smelled
Uh,
that. I'm like, yeah, you just picked it up off the ground. And you smell things. Like, I didn't even notice I did that. It's
yeah, I
weird.
don't think my brother notices either, but he's done that since he was a kid. Every little thing, grab it, smell it, get the food, smell it, get the water, smell it. I'm like, that's just his
Yeah,
process.
yeah, it is. Or it's like when we're sourcing and we like grab an electronic and we just shake just to see. Even though a lot of times that feedback gives us nothing, we just shake it just to see. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was actually
yeah,
talking.
I'm guilty of that.
I was talking this morning because like with especially with VHS players, like little toddlers and little kids, they'll just like be walking in the house with their bag of Cheerios, and then they'll see that flap goes in and out, and they'll just like start shoving Cheerios in it, or like they'll just like have their Cheetos or pretzel sticks. So like a lot of times I'll grab a DVD VCR combo player or a VHS player, and I'll shake it, and I'll hear a rattle, and I'm like, oh sweet. I'll go home and I'll open it, and it's always like a freaking
Cheerios,
pretzel or a
uh,
Dorito or a Cheeto or like it's so
Fruit
funny.
Loops.
Yeah, Fruit Loops is a very common one too. It's funny. Or like sometimes I'll find like Pokemon cards in there because like kids do. Kids are just weird, and they'll finally realize that flap is kind of accessible, and they'll just like start putting stuff in it.
Yeah, it's feeding him. He cares about him. He must
It's
be
so
hungry
good.
just sitting there on the shelf the whole time.
It's funny. They gotta take care of it, I guess. But yeah, man, it's good stuff. Well, we're coming up on 90 minutes. This is podcast number 2. This has been really
Yeah,
fun. I've been really enjoying these.
yeah.
But yeah. Oh,
That's good.
we just got a live offer.
Nice.
Canary indoor camera. I have it listed for
Accepted.
15. They offered 10. We're gonna accept that.
Accepted.
Nice little small sale right there. Get it out of the shop. Did you hear the buzz?
Yeah, it was like a little D.
Oh shoot, I've had a ton of buzzes the whole
No,
podcast.
I
So
didn't pick
hopefully,
up the other things. That's cool.
okay, sweet. Yeah, hopefully it's not too noticeable. But yeah, guys, let us know in the comments below. What did you like? What did you not like? What do you want to see more of, hear less of? Just this is your guys' podcast, so
Yeah, are
say you
you a
got anything to
smeller?
say. What was that?
Are you a smeller? Let us
Are you
know.
a smeller? Do you eat things one by one, or do you combination eat them? What kind of eater are you?
Do you double dip? Let me know.
But yeah, Sonny, you got anything else to say in closing?
No, we do have a Facebook page, folks. If you'd like
Oh
to
yeah,
join that as well, have fun with it. I would say we haven't talked about the rules or things that we want to be on, but share what you find. Give some information. I would say if you join it, give information of what your item is so other people can learn from it rather than just, hey, here's an item that I found. Give a little information on it, how much you bought it for, how much it can sell for. Let's open another in there. And also, we got our first meme yesterday, the Island Boys, and I
yeah,
was cracking up with that. So it begins. So if you want to share stuff like that, that's more than welcomed. We're not wanting you to like purposely hurt people's feelings,
yeah.
but that type of stuff is hilarious, and we welcome it. And it's something we are growing along with other things that we'll talk about here in the future for the Reseller Island podcast with both of us.
Yeah, and just like the podcast is supposed to be like kind of in mind that we're your guys' coworkers. Same thing with the Facebook page, like ask questions, say, hey, would you guys pick this up? Things like that. Hey guys, I found this. Kind of show off a little bit, let the coworkers know what you're doing. But also understand that some people are just rude. It happens, especially on Facebook, if you're a part of a community or group or anything. Feel free to ask questions and then just understand that some people are just going to be rude about it sometimes, but we want it to be a place where you guys can freely ask questions, mingle, just let everyone know what's kind of going on in your day, because again, reselling can be extremely lonely, but with a tribe, with an island of coworkers, it can be very manageable and very fun.
Island boys and
Island boys.
island girls.
So yeah, I think there's going to be a link in the description for the Facebook page. Please join the Facebook page. The best way to help that grow too, we want to grow that as much as possible. The best way to help that grow is to actually post pictures of things, of your hauls, of things that you've sold, things like that. So just feel free to ask any questions, post some things that you guys have found, and let's just have a good time. Adios, amigos.